one of the things that we're going to do, today is like for the next 90 minutes, I'm going to teach you some content. We're going to talk about what to expect in 2023, give you some ideas about your real estate investing career. And I'm also going to talk about some additional training programs, our one-on-one mentoring, and I'm going to share you some of the reasons why you want those programs now too. And we're going to get moving on these 90 minutes. So let's kind of do it. And one of the things is, I think we're giving away something, right, Michelle? Are we giving away a free ticket for our quick start, which we'll talk about a little bit later too? So keep an eye on the chat. Some house rules, if you guys don't know, the chat moves way too fast for myself and Harry. So put your questions in the Q&A. We'll try to get to as many questions as possible. And, we're pretty excited about this. So a couple little things. So, we want to make this interactive as much as possible. So we want you to go ahead and, put in the chat. And so how many of you guys want 2023 to be the biggest year ever? Go ahead and put in the chat. Yeah, buddy. Right. So yeah, buddy, if you actually do. And if you don't, then what the heck are you guys doing here? Right? You're killing some time. So yeah, look at that. I got a bunch of yeah buddies. Yeah, James. Yeah, Michael, one of our students. Esther. Absolutely.
I have a couple of have tos.
Yeah,
We can talk. This is the year for everyone. It's amazing, the writing on the wall.
Absolutely. So, and our motto here at BPM RIA is we want to make real estate investing made simple. So I do see a lot of new names on here on our webinar. So who I am, right? I am the president of BPM RIA. I've been a licensed real estate agent since 2002. So if you're a realtor, go ahead and put in the chat. We want to know how many of you guys are realtors. I've also been a licensed mortgage guy. My story is a little bit crazy like everyone else's, where I made a lot of money. I thought I was a phenomenal investor until 2007. You old timers know what I'm talking about. From 2004 to 7, I crushed it. And then something big happened. And that's the Great Recession. So I actually got wiped out, lost literally millions of dollars. I had 28 properties. I'm originally from New Jersey. I am Indian first generation. I was, reading the books Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So I know a lot of you guys have probably heard of Robert Kiyosaki. And I realized I was on the path of poor dad. Right. And my dad was poor dad. So I said, you know what, let me start a mortgage company. Let me start buying properties. And I was up to 28 properties. And after getting 28 properties, I thought I'd be done. And when I say when I'm done, what I meant to say is I thought I would be done investing, not broke. So I wound up losing everything. And February 10th, 2010, I got to, guess what, file bankruptcy. So it was not fun. I didn't want to go back to corporate America. I spent, over $50,000 with those other guys out there, that were actually took my money, right? Versus, we want you to invest with us. It's just a little bit different what we do than other companies out there. BPM RIA is a chapter of National RIA. National RIA is the organization that endorses real estate clubs. So we're the only approved chapter here in South Florida. What that means for you, you do get benefits. And some of those benefits are, guess what? You get Home Depot, Office Depot, right? So those are some of the benefits that you do get with our organization. Just out of curiosity, if you guys are interested in membership, it's $295 for our individual members and $595. So if you want to become a member and basically have us pay you to become a member, we do have different events where they are member pricing and non-member pricing. Our members have spent well over $8 million at Home Depot. So lots of money. So I see a lot of you guys are already members. So thank you guys for being members. So also we do have other events. It's member pricing. For example, this Saturday, Antonio Lopez, if you saw his webinar, there's member pricing and non-member pricing. If you come to the actual physical events for the meetings, you also get a discount there too. So we're just kind of curious to see if you want to become a member, take action, just go to www.bpmria and you could sign up for a membership. So that's a little bit about me. I'm going to kind of talk about our team a little bit. So as we mentioned, Alexa Para is our COO. She actually runs the office, and you notice that when she's not here, Anish can't even figure out how to run the chat or turn it on. So integral part of our team. Taryn Ward is one of the lead mentors, Harry and Victoria. So only Harry's on board here. Denise and Lucian also are mentors too. So one of the things that, we really pride ourselves, these three groups or couples were all students prior. So, and I'll let you kind of talk about your background a little bit. But one of the things that, real estate investing has done for me personally has really changed my life. And what I mean by that is after losing everything, I could have quit like everybody else, right? Going back to my corporate job. So how many people are working a corporate job right now? Let me know in the chat if you love your corporate job. It's going to be silence, right? So, if you are in a corporate, and some people do like their job. I just didn't, and I didn't like the idea that, hey, you only get a week off or 2 weeks off to do this. So one of the cool things was that, are you living your best life? And for me, one of the things that we're doing is we love to travel around the world. My wife and I, we've been to Dubai, the Maldives, India, you name it, Tulum, Turkey. And for us, it's just one of those things that it's just very different than most people out there. This Denise and Lucian, Harry and Victoria. Harry, if you want to unmute yourself, you want to talk about your trip a little bit?
Yeah. Well, actually, we've taken many trips. We've been to Italy and all throughout Italy and Croatia and Slovenia and Montenegro, Greece. Recent trip was more Greece and Turkey, Istanbul, Turkey, and Ephesus, Turkey. Was incredible trips that we could only have afforded because of working through real estate. We've had a blast. My dream is to travel, always has been, and I just love to do it. So if I want to do more, but we have a dog, and my wife says, Victoria says, we can't go as much as I want until the dog dies. So dog's staying away from me for sure.
So again, some of the comments, we always kind of joke about this. So we are animal lovers here at BPM RIA.
Yes, we
so
are.
Some of the comments that Harry Diamond might make is definitely not the views of BPM RIA fully. So I just mess with them all the time.
We rescue dogs and we love them to death. So I'll wait. I have no problem waiting.
So yeah, so the thing is, like, we all love traveling as a group, and what we're really, some of the things that you guys may or may not know is that I'm a big sports fan, and we actually got to work with the Miami Dolphins. If you guys are a Dolphins fan, put yeah, buddy, in the chat. So I know you're Dolphin fans, and hopefully, I know we got a big game this weekend, Sunday at 1 p.m. I know we have it stacked against us, but somehow, I'm hoping for a miracle. Whoever's starting, and hopefully we could beat Bills Mafia up there. So if you're a Bills Mafia fan, go ahead and get off the call, because I'm not going to give you any good information. No. One of the things is that, Stephen Ross, being a real estate guy, the owner of the Dolphins, he created a program with his group, with Caleb, where he's actually teaching these young men what to do outside of football. So one of the things that they are super excited is about learning real estate. And luckily they chose me to actually teach them about, wholesaling, rehabbing, and short-term rentals. So for me, I was like above and beyond as a sports fan. And as you can see on the photos, like how small I am compared to them is an understatement. My neck hurt from looking up all the time at these guys. So it's kind of funny on that portion. One of the things that, we're really proud of is having a community. So, we did our big barbecue during the summer. We're still trying to figure out why Harry's got aluminum foil around his stomach. But there's probably a reason for, I'm not sure yet. So I don't know if it cooks faster or not. But we're really proud of this being a community first and foremost too. So people have been asking us, right? What the heck have you guys been doing in 2022? So instead of me actually talking about it, Taryn, one of the lead mentors, I didn't know she was also an editor. If you were at the meeting on the Wednesday, we had some issues with the video. I'm hoping the video works. So go ahead and take a look. Go ahead and put in the chat. Hopefully it works. If not, we'll just keep going on that. And I'll kind of tell you a recap of what we've been up to on that portion too. So.
This is one of the best programs I've been a part of. The support is outstanding.
I encourage you to join this association. Your life will be changed.
Anish and everybody that was part of the BPM RIA they were just wonderful. They had very knowledgeable, they were helpful, they were patient, kind, very good teachers, very organized. Everything was just it was a great quick start seminar.
Never mind. Wait for me to
BPM RIA, Anish and the team, they are amazing. I have been a corporate member of the BPM RIA, formerly known as BRIA, for probably almost 15 years. And being part of an organization like that is just amazing when you get to see the people's lives that they're changing.
Sorry, guys, there's a little glitch there. Anish, are you around?
I am around. Let's see what's going on here. Let me see.
Hey, what's up? This is Avery Moss, former New York Giant, former Miami Dolphin. Recently, I got to finish up this pack event where it was a group of professional retired athletes that got together and we're trying to figure out the next chapter of our life. Just hearing them talk, going through everything, like instantly, I was inspired by the guy. It was like a light bulb clicked above my head like a cartoon. And thanks to Anish Dave, I can say furthermore, I'm going to go through this process and get into real estate, stop messing around and actually do it, because I feel confident now of knowing what exactly what I want to do after meeting him and getting a base knowledge and seeing how things are.
Position. Grab the seat of the chair. The seat.
There you go.
Put your knee on the corner if you want to. All right. You're going straight to the floor, not at an angle, straight up and down. You're going to see it straight to the floor. Touch it once.
You're
Touch
gonna
it twice.
destroy that shit, dude.
Touch it a third time. Explode!
And I have to say, they're an exceptional bunch of people to work with. How to use a technique, creative financing, how to get rid of liens. Don't hesitate to join, work with them. They will definitely help you get through the roughest times.
There was the video that they were showing that, and
They put up all the money for the deals. They're there with you, make sure all the paperwork is right. You know, they're not going to leave you alone on this. And yeah, I recommend this.
BPM RIA program, it's definitely changed our lives. They funded our deals.
Hey, can't go wrong with other people's money.
Exactly. You know, they funded our deals. They got us into real estate. They held our hand the whole way through, and just really, the most amazing thing is we literally have these guys to. It's nothing for us to pick up the phone and call Anish and be like, "Hey, look, we got this deal. What do we do?"
They're not going to let your deal fall through.
All right, guys. So let's get back into it. So I know you guys are, how many people thought it was pretty funny me eating it? Go ahead. Let me hear it. Let me hear it. How many people saw that? I totally made a fool of myself. So on a side note, I did hit my face pretty hard. So it's kind of funny on that end of it. And so one of the things is it's about putting yourself out there. So it's okay when you're out there and you make mistakes. And and on a side note, which was really the hysterical part about that was that it was Marshall Silver's turning point, where if some of you guys have been following me, I was there this weekend out in California for extra training. And I was so focused on that exercise that I wanted to have such a great 2023. And I wanted to break that board so bad. So I was just like, man, I'm going to break it. But I followed through so hard that I not only broke the board, I kind of broke my face a little bit. So we've been all dying on it. So I just wish it wasn't me that did that. And I wish it was Harry that fell through, because it would have been a lot more funny for that too. So, but that's one of the things that we're here to talk about, right? A lot of you guys talk about 2023 being your biggest year ever. Go ahead and put in the chat, how much money do you guys want to make? What's a good number for you guys? Give me an annual number, monthly number, on that end of it. So I'm just curious to see what you guys think is a good number. I know what my numbers are, and my numbers, even like I'm doing pretty well. I'm getting to do the things I want in my life, but I'm still nowhere where I want to be too. So I got some people at 500,000. I got 10K a month. Yeah. What only Michael, only 5? Okay. 20K a month. What I can tell you, you're going to laugh about this, is that once you hit that 500 or that 20 a month or 50 a month, one of the things that's going to happen, you're going to be like, oh, that's not that much. So it is pretty amazing. It's just adding more numbers, right? On that end of it. What Harry didn't tell you about Harry and Victoria, as a team, they made over $1 million last year. And they didn't do a ton of deals. So I think it's kind of funny. Now you guys are like, well, it's only $1 million on that end of it, right? So it's kind of interesting where we're at. So how many of you guys realize that there are some things that you definitely need to sharpen up? And if you don't learn it, it's going to cost you money. Got to put in the chat. Yeah, buddy, you're right. Right. So you definitely need to sharpen it up, right? Yeah, Amanda's on board. Yeah, buddy. Yep, exactly. And then how many of you ultimately understand nothing is free and you'll have to invest in yourself at some point? Right? Michael, yeah, buddy. Yep, same thing. Yeah, buddy. Right? Nothing's free. You're going to have to invest. And that's what I did, actually. I spent well over $80,000 last year on personal development to really get me to the next level. So, and if it's free, right? I don't have to tell you what happens. It's probably just enough information to do nothing. So what kind of properties do we go after, guys? What do you think? Put in the chat, right? Put in the chat. What do you think? Single family homes, right? Multifamily properties, condos, townhouses, land, right? So we go after all of it, right? It doesn't have to be distressed. I know a lot of you guys are putting distress, right? Because we're looking for motivated. People can be distressed, right? Not paying their mortgages, and they're not motivated. It's very unfortunate on that portion too. So single family homes. So why do we like going after single family homes, right, Harry? What do you think?
Well, I like single family homes because they're the most money is to be made, or a good portion of the profits can be made on a single family residence versus a condo.
Yeah, and so they're both good, right? The issue, right, is with condos and townhouses and all the above. What do we have? Our favorite, what? HOA, homeowners association. So how many of you guys actually live in an HOA? Yes, no, never, never again, right? So there's some good ones and some bad ones. How about that, right? Sometimes you're very friendly with your board and sometimes you're not. And so what we like about single family homes, generally speaking, it's the low hanging fruit. So that's one of the things that when we say low hanging fruit, we don't have to worry about an association. We're dealing directly with the seller. Multifamily properties. Yeah, we love multifamily properties. I used to sell multifamily properties. I own a multifamily property. It is awesome. The issue on the other side, it's usually someone that has some experience. The investor on the other side is an investor, generally speaking. So their knowledge might be a little bit different. The numbers are bigger. So you're going to put 10%, 20% down on some of these properties. They might ask 10,000, 50,000 down, depending on price points. Condos and townhouses. Yeah, we do love condos and townhouses. I actually made a killing in Miramar. And, Tuscany Village, if any of you guys are in Miramar, what I would tell you is that don't go to my neighborhood. No, I'm kidding. No, I made a lot of money there, right? So what I wasn't sure was, hey, did they take rentals? And they did. And they actually took Section 8. So Section 8, in case you guys don't know, is where the government helps out the tenant and the money goes directly into your account. So I did one property there, and before you knew it, I did about 7 or 8 there. I owned a few, and I had buyers that were actually, out there and buying from me, because I thought all investors, all they ever wanted was what? Single family homes. That is not correct. You have to know your buyers list, right? And land, right? So I've done actually some land. What do you think the issues are with land? What do you think, tell me what the issues are with owning land. And again, we're going after low hanging fruit. Like I've done all types of properties, all 4 of these properties. Yeah, John, you're right. Not generating money. It's just sitting there, generally speaking. There could be zoning restrictions. Good answer, Andrew, right? Not income producing, right? You got to mow the lawn on that. I used to own some land in the middle of Orlando. I bought it from another wholesaler. And then all of a sudden I got, guess what? Some fines. Before I knew it, people were, throwing their tires, other junk on it. So now I had to get someone out there and clean that. And it just started becoming a pain and costing more money. But if if you have buyers, developers, and it's specific areas, yeah, you can make a lot of money. So we don't mind going after land either, right? So like that's not an issue. So we say yes to all 4, right? So it's really important on that end of it. What kind of deals do we love? Pre-foreclosure properties with no equity. Harry, why don't you go ahead and talk about it and what you think about why do you like pre-foreclosures, no equity, and what is a short sale?
Okay, a short sale is basically selling a property for less than what is owed. I like going after these because homeowners are in. Usually they don't know what the process is, what's going on. I like to find the creative solutions to create such equity. We get to work with the banks, and I'm crazy. I deal with negotiating liens as well. But it's just an upside down property that if we can solve their problems, and we can benefit greatly and make it a win-win-win situation for all parties involved.
Yeah, but Harry, you know what? It takes so much time. It takes so much time. I don't
It's true.
ever want to got to put into, like, I know some of you guys are realtors that you guys told me. How many people love short sales? Right? Got to put in the chat, right? If you love short sales.
Nobody's commenting. Yeah, it does take about 6 months on average to do a short sale. Our quickest one was approved in 30 days, and the longest took 2 years. But I always put more than one deal on the boards at a time, so you don't have to live and die by that deal. The property that took 2 years to do, we ended up putting less than 50 hours in, and we made $52,000 in profit. So that's over $1,000 an hour. So when you look,
wait.
it's not really a lot of time.
Harry, I think my volume, something, I thought I heard something incorrectly. Did you just say $1,000 an hour? Give me a yeah, buddy. Yeah, Harry.
On that one that took 2 years, some of the ones that took 4 or 5 months, the numbers are staggering over $6,000 to $7,000 per hour of work.
Yeah. So if you did not hear that correctly, he just said $6,000 or $7,000 an hour, right? And I know some of you guys, we were talking about 6 months to a year. The thing is, you're not actually doing this for a year, like, meaning you're not working on this daily for a year on that end of it. So I think that's something that you have to really understand. And the goal is, when you're doing this, is that you want to be able to, I kind of joke about it. You're baking a cake, basically. And one of the things, what I mean by that is, you put all the ingredients in there, right? And then you stick it in the oven and you check on it, right? You're not literally cooking it for 40 minutes. But a lot of times, guess what? If you're like me, I am hungry. I need food. So the other kind of deals we go after, right, that we love, is pre-foreclosure properties with equity, right? So guess what? If you guys were actually at the meeting on Wednesday, right, you remember me telling you that there's a lot of deals out there with equity. Taryn, when we put up those numbers, we were talking about it. There was almost 65,000 pre-foreclosures in Florida right now. More than 80% of them have equity. So we love equity, right? Equity. Guess what? Why do we love it? It's a 30-day closing. So we're literally gonna pay their late fees, their attorney fees. Oh, and by the way, Mr. or Mrs. Homeowner, you might, keyword might, actually walk away with money, right? So it is a win-win. So why are there so many properties with equity right now here in Florida? Is because guess what's happened in these last 2 years? Prices have gone up, right? So when the prices go up, what are you gonna do? You're gonna sell them all to me, right? Or Harry? No, sell them.
Yeah, I have 3 right now that are pre-foreclosures with equity. 3 of them.
Yep. And so the other question my realtor friends always ask me, well, they have equity. How come, right? How come they don't list it? And so if you've ever been in that position, so I'm going to talk about me when I was in that position. The last thing you want to do, right, or deal with, is all the mail, from the attorneys, everyone else, when you're behind on payments. It goes right. I get that mail, I put it in the no pile. I'm just going to throw it over there and not look at it. They're not going to magically have enough money to come up with to get their mortgage current. They're not going to. They could make payments for a year or two. They're not going to come up with $20,000 or $30,000, right? So again, we're here fixing problems. So if you don't know, when you say pre-foreclosures, it's good or bad. Not really. It's all good, right? If you know what you're doing, right? So I want to get that mindset out of your head saying, hey, short sales stink, right? When Harry talks about he made $6,000 per hour, right? Just out of curiosity, as we kind of go through this, what's a good number for you, right? That you would be happy, that would literally change your life, that, to make per hour in this business. You say, you know what, if I only made this much, I'd be okay. Right? Go ahead and put it in the chat. The other deals that we like going for are probates. Why do we like probates? Right? Harry, why do we like probates? What's one of the reasons that you like probate?
Well, 2 of those 3 deals we just mentioned about pre-foreclosure properties with equity require probate. So the people aren't here. The heirs don't want the houses. One of the houses is a hoarder's house. The other one's not in bad shape, but it does have equity. So there are dozens of situations or possibilities where properties are available, and it's not just cookie cutter that this is what it is. So being part of the organization is, we have all this experience, we have all the knowledge, we have all the parties, and that's why it's a great thing to have access to all of this information. Probates, I love probates in the pre-foreclosures specifically because we keep control. They're not listed out there. Not everyone can see them, but probates in general, the homeowner or the heirs are not interested in the property. They're motivated to sell. They don't live here. They don't want mom and dad's house, or that's even if the house is in good condition. So
Yeah,
they're willing to sell and more motivated.
Yeah, so Harry, so stop using all these big words. You want to tell our audience what a probate is? Right, I've heard the word. I'm not really sure what that means, right? So, and it's okay if you don't know the words, right, and the lingo, because I know some of you guys are new. I remember when I didn't know the word and what it does. So, how does a probate work in general?
Well, a probate, there's probate law, which enables a property to be transferred to a relative, to an heir. And in a lot of cases, it is required because the people didn't take certain asset protection to transfer the property that did not require probate. Again, another thing I learned through the organization, but we're not covering that here. So probate is a legal process which just finds the heirs and transfers the property into the heir's name. Not the liability, not the debt, just the ability to transfer the property.
Yeah, and so a lot of things. There's a couple of things, and I'm not going to use. I'm going to quote what one of our national speakers says when he comes to Florida. He goes, "It's great down here in Florida. You're in God's waiting room." So obviously, what he's applying that there's a lot of people that retire here, and like me, transplant, right? Meaning I grew up in New Jersey. And when someone passes away, their son or daughter or their family are not magically going to become rehabbers. What we found, generally speaking, it's a little bit unfortunate, is that the older people get, the house is really not up to the condition that you may want it, right? So they might have been hoarders. They could have been, I mean, we'll show you some pictures of some deals that we've done that it was very challenging is an understatement, right? They're not going to fly down here magically and rehab the houses.
At minimum, we can say at minimum, they're just out of date.
Yeah, they're out of date. Absolutely. And the thing is, like, sometimes they don't even know where to start, right? Like, I'm going to talk to a realtor. The realtor is going to say, oh, you got to paint this, you got to do all these things. And we're here to solve their problems. So that's something that we do that's, very important on that end of it, is to fix problems. And then landlords, right? In and out of state. So go ahead and put in the chat, how many of you guys are landlords? And if you are, just put in state or out state and let me know how it's going, right? Like, I'm a landlord. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's not, right? Some of you guys want to build your portfolio. Some of you guys don't. Right? You just want to get in and out. You don't want any of the headache. At that point, the key is you want to be able to find deals, right? So, yep, Michael, I know you got an Airbnb in state. Jaren's got one in state, also a couple in state. So how many of you guys actually had to evict anybody? Let me know how fun that is. So I have actually evicted tenants on that portion. It's a hassle. I had to hire an attorney. Actually, one of the ones that we're working on right now on a student deal, we're in the middle of an eviction. So it happens, right? So, and there's that story, like, I think, Harry, I was telling you a while back, where this investor had 19 properties. And there was only one that, he was joking about, I don't know if it's cursed. I don't know what the heck is going on here. He's like, every time I put someone in there, I got to evict them. So of course, we bought the house, got the tenant out and got him evicted, and we made some good money. Of course, I asked and tried to get the other 19. He's like, no, the other, or 18. He's like, no, the other ones are good. It's just this one. So one of the other things, if it's out of state, I know some of you guys are looking for or have properties out of state. It's no fun when you have to all of a sudden travel out of state and deal with it, right? Like your management company is not as good as it was. There are things happening. It's the same thing down here. So maybe the other end of it is they might want to liquidate, right? They're looking out there. And if you don't understand creative financing, the values have gone up and they just want to cash out. Sometimes they don't want the cash. They want payments. So we like all four of them, right? So we've made a lot of money in general on this, right? So we're always the common denominator, motivated sellers. And as I mentioned, right, Harry might be, motivated and the other person's not, right? So go ahead and put in the chat, tell me what some of the things of motivation might be. What would, make a homeowner or an investor be motivated? And I know we talked about eviction. What other things would motivate someone to sell their property? I'm always kind of curious, right? Like what else is there? Yeah, job transfer, tired of being a landlord, right? Maybe just that one unit. Yeah, Michael, I agree with you. Sometimes it's stressful, especially if you're managing it. John, kids. Yeah, they might have kids or your kids are mooching off you. I don't know which one, Sean. So I was big shout out to Sean. On a side note, if you guys have been watching our YouTube channel, the funny ones, the super funny guy is Sean McMurray. So he's one of the, obviously he's the natural. He looks like Steve Aoki. I'm the stiff on that portion. And it was pretty cool. We actually got to do travel this weekend, and we did a lot of training this weekend to really start boosting our business. Esther, you're right, lost income, right? Divorced. These are all different things that can happen. What else? See how solving their problem. What about violations? Roof, right? I don't know, the AC's not working. They found out they were running I don't know, they had, maybe they were running an illegal short-term rental in there. They didn't tell you, right? So there are all different things that we're looking at, right? We need a motivated seller. And again, I am very surprised how often people are not motivated, right? So, they got a sale date come in, and what happens is somehow, I don't know what happens. I mean, I believe in, divine intervention, but more often than not, no one's coming down here and going to pay off your mortgage, right? And if you've been around some of you old timers like me, I've seen people get kicked out of their house and the sheriff come. It's not pretty. That's one of the things that's just a little bit different than most people. So wholesaling versus flipping properties, right? So go ahead and put in the chat, what do you think wholesaling is? Tell me what it is, right? Go ahead and, because I know everyone's heard it, right? What is wholesaling? I heard of wholesaling. I'm going to wholesale. Yeah, Jorge, middleman. What else? What else is wholesaling? Can you just wholesale houses? Boats? Right? That's just saying buying low, selling high, contract flipping, assigning contracts. Yep. Buy low, sell low. Yep. Kim knows a little bit what I'm talking about. So what about the rest of you guys? There's a lot of you guys on here, and you guys are not, interacting with us, or you guys just have it on the background and you're not listening to us. Don't make me scream. I'm not going to give you all the good information, right? So wholesaling is exactly what Kim's talking about. Actually, all of you guys are right to an extent, but we want to buy low and sell low. Why do you think we want to buy low and sell low, right? So a common mistake new wholesalers make, right? They want to buy low, but they want to sell high. And what I mean by is they're going to call me or Harry and say, hey, I found this great deal, right? I'm going to buy it for this, or usually I won't tell you what they're going to buy it, but I'm going to sell it to you for this. So I'm going to buy it for 100,000 or 200,000. Let's use that number, a little bit more accurate. And I'm going to sell it to Harry for 230,000. And Harry's going to ask, what's the value of the house? And my favorite people will say sometimes 240. And how do you feel about that, right? Harry, I'm going to sell it to you for 30. I found this great deal. You got $10,000 worth of equity.
Great deal for you, not for me.
No, no. I mean, I'm just worried about my money. I mean, I need to make 30,000. How do you feel about that?
Not going to happen.
Yeah. So, right. So you have to leave room for the other guy to make money. Right. If Harry was, I know some of you guys are landlords. Well, maybe if the numbers make sense as a rental. Okay, maybe the 230 works. My Airbnb guys, right? Your short-term rental guys, they might pay 245. Why? They're running a business out of it. So in 30 seconds or less, right? If I had a great deal or Harry has a great deal and he calls me, he has to explain what the price is. I'm going to ask him real quick. Hey, what are the repairs? Because it's always what Harry tells me. Good Lord, like it's always repairs, right? And I'm just like, I hope it's less than 6 figures, right? Everything's, a little bit of a challenge, but that's okay. Hey, Nish, you can buy the house, at 240, but it's going to be $50,000 in repairs. It's going to need a new roof, new kitchen, all these things. It is my job, right, to figure out if it's really 50,000. So we kind of joke about it. When you're the buyer, right, and you're talking to the seller, it's a little bit different. And when we say that is that when it's a little bit different, why do we mean it's a little bit different? Because if you're the seller, right, or you're the buyer or the wholesaler, you want to go to the seller and say, hey, there's all these problems on it. I'm going to have to fix it. That illegal addition or that garage you enclosed illegally, it's going to cost me money. Yeah, it's going to cost me money and I'm going to lose it. But when I sell it to the other investor on our list, right, we have a 10,000 plus cash buyers list. When I sell it to them, I'm going to say, wow, that enclosed garage, guess what? That's another room. Instead of a 3.2 getting 2,500, you're going to get $3,000. So it depends on what hat you have on, right? Am I the buyer or the seller? So it makes a big difference. And you're correct. I saw some people talking about assigning contracts. Yes, that is a way to move it. Melissa says, you know what? Everyone has to win. I like Harry. What's your motto on that?
It's got to be a win-win, win-win-win situation. 5 of them.
Yeah,
at least 5.
Absolutely, at least 5, right? So, and again, it's still up to the investor that you're selling to figure out. If, when Harry tells me, is he really telling me the truth? Oh, it only needs 10,000 repairs. I'm like, but it needs a roof, right? So you gotta find that nice end of it, because if they find out that you're exaggerating so much, Harry's exaggerating so much, I probably won't look at his call. So you want to figure out who your end buyers are. We have a 10,000 plus cash buyers list at BPM RIA. So we have a ton of different buyers too. So the benefits of wholesaling, right? So minimal cash needed to get started, right? You don't need a ton of money on that. If it's done correctly, you can't lose any money. How many people, go ahead, put in the chat. How many people like that? It needs minimal cash. And if it's done right, you can't lose any money. Put yeah, buddy in the chat. And if not, then I'm going to, then you're not in the right spot. No, I'll just wait. I'll wait until everyone puts in the chat. If you guys don't like that, go ahead, put yeah, buddy. Minimal cash. And if it's done correctly, you can't lose any money. Yep. Milleroyd. Yep. Amanda. Okay. Yeah, I'm just making sure you're awake out there. So otherwise it's just, Harry and myself talking. We already know this stuff. So far, the information I'm giving you sounds pretty exciting so far. So how many people love minimal staff or personnel? Right? Meaning, Harry, where's your office? Just out of curiosity.
In the northwest corner of my house.
And how many people are on your team?
Hundreds, actually, but Victoria and I are the only ones in our company, and our team is you and everybody else associated with BPM RIA.
Yeah, that was a loaded question. He knew the answer, right? So he's really on it for Valor Ventures. It's only the two of them as the owners. But yes, he has a team, right? So again, we're going to talk about the power team too. And this can also be done virtually. So how many people like the idea, right? You could buy stuff in other areas. Give me a yeah, buddy. You know, and the perfect example is Taryn, one of our mentors out there. She buys stuff here, and then she actually buys stuff in Louisiana. I forgot even what little town that she buys in Louisiana. Never been there. I've never heard of it. Was number one. I know she's never been there, and she's actually done a couple of rehabs, and she has made hundreds of thousands of dollars in that little town. So of course it's going to take more work. I got it, right? You got to build a team. You need boots on the ground. But once you get this, it's going to really get out there, right? And it's going to make a big difference for you. And, you know, some of you guys are actually not local, right? I saw someone in Louisville. We have people actually in South America. We've had people in Africa. And guess what they're doing? They're investing in Florida. Yes, it can be done virtually, right? So minimal cash needed, right? You won't lose any money, minimal staff, and it can be done virtually, right? So those are all great things, you know, out there that could really change your business. So how many of you guys like what I'm talking about, right? Does this sound exciting to you guys that you could actually do this? Versus my realtor friends, I always mess with these guys. You work way too hard for your money. I know that feeling. That 3%. And some of the realtor friends, like, you know, I kind of joke about it. My corporate friends, they always say, wow, you get to wake up every morning, drive a couple people around, you write a contract, and you get a big check. So I know you my realtor friends, we all laugh about it. Like, that's not happening at all. So yeah, Esther, I'm happy you're excited about this, right? The realtor world is very difficult. And one of the things that I'm actually going to touch on that too, is that you do not have to be a realtor to become an investor, right? So it's not one or the other, right? And some of you guys are already realtors, and you just want to change the hat like me, right? You don't want to trip over dollars to pick up pennies. Your realtor friends will tell you, when you study for the test, they don't even teach you how to write a contract. So a lot of people always think that, hey, I need to get a real estate license before I become an investor. Harry, will you ever get your realtor license?
No.
You sure you don't want to think about that?
You know, for me, it takes time. I'm very set in my ways, so it takes time, extra money, takes my focus away from what I'm doing. I love the realtors. They do work way too hard. When I need them, I'll be happy to use them and partner with them, not a problem. But I do not want to be a realtor.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, and not to get totally off the path, but a lot of times you might be at a brokerage where they say, hey, you can't be an investor and a realtor. You have to see why they're saying that. So if you do have any issues of, your broker does not want you to become an investor, and I can tell you why they don't want you to become an investor, because you're not going to be a realtor anymore. Let me know, and join our brokerage, Charles Rutenberg Realty. Super happy out there. And Michelle Sesser is the broker, and she is phenomenal too. So I know, Milroy, you're saying about the MLS data, and we actually are doing webinars out there, ReFacts. So you can almost get all the data and more through that. So what are the characteristics of flipping real estate? Right? So this should be, but it's not always true, right? You should have larger profits. If you're fixing something and you're doing the work, you should make more than you normally do wholesaling. But guess what? There's always exceptions. I cannot tell you how many deals we've done over the years where Harry, myself, we actually made more money than the rehabber, right? So tell me, you know, how many of you guys would like to make more money than a rehabber, right? Give me a yeah, buddy, because I do. The other thing is, again, some of you guys are rehabbers. You like it. I'm okay with that too, right? It's a win-win. You want to learn what's out there, right? So yeah, Kevin, yeah, buddy. I know that we have your house that actually the irony is Kevin's one of our students. We're evicting somebody right now, and we might actually fix your house because instead of making 30 to 50,000, I think, you know, I talked to your mentor, we think we can make almost 100,000. So that might be a reason why you want to do a rehab, larger profits, right? One of the issues that you run into, right? It takes more time, which makes it riskier. And let's talk about that, right? So how many of you guys have actually done a rehab? You know, put it in the chat if you've done a rehab. I'm just kind of curious. And what you're going to find out is, I know John has. John, you're an experienced guy. Man is completing too, right? Depending on the city is an issue, right? So we do like different cities. What I can tell you, if you're doing a rehab in Hollywood, so hopefully there's no people from the city of Hollywood on this webinar. And if there is, don't tell them, but it is a little bit more difficult there, right? The permits. So if you're doing these rehabs, and we did a rehab, it took us 9 months to get a roof permit. Well, guess what that's doing, right? You're going to have holding costs. You're going to have other costs. What have we seen in these last 6 months, right? It was you were breathing, you made money, right, on these rehabs. And what we're seeing now is an adjustment, right? It's not a crash, it's an adjustment. So if you're a terrible rehabber, right? And I kind of asked people at the in-person meeting or even on that Saturday workshop was that, you know, if you're a rehabber and you said it's going to take 4 months and it took you 8 months, guess what? You actually made extra money. And it's because prices went up. What I can tell you right now, if you think it's going to take you 3 months and it takes you 8 months now, you're going to lose some money. Or you're not going to make as much money unless there's enough room in there. So you want to make sure the risk level, right? Every day there's money cost that's happening. The other thing that we need is, right, a power team to complete it. So you need contractors, you need flooring, insurance people. Luckily, some of you guys have been part of our organization for a long time. Carl Sheely, who is not only a student, he's been with our organization. He's the longest standing member. I always mess with him. I call him the oldest member, but Carl, if you're on there, I'm just messing with you. The longest standing member of our organization. And, you know, he's just out there and he's trustworthy. And I can tell you my first couple of rehabs that I did, I didn't have a contractor that was trustworthy and I went for the cheapest price. And let me tell you what a nightmare it was and how much extra money I paid for it. So you do need a team on that end of it. And then the most important thing is, right, you need money to complete the project. So what I mean by that, if you don't have money to close, right, and you use hard money lenders to work with it, you're going to need 20 to 25% of your own money to come up to complete the deal. You might need money for repairs. Again, if you're experienced, yeah, they have better programs out there. You are going to have to make monthly payments. So you need to have the cash. So the idea that, oh, I don't have any, I could do this with no cash. I know you guys have been watching it all over YouTube. It's everywhere. Hey, no cash, Harry. I'm going to do this. I'm just going to wake up in my shorts and I'm going to do this and do all these things. Everyone makes it a lot easier. And I always tell everyone, if it was so easy, everybody would be doing it, right? We talk about this, Harry, the other mentors, all the time, where investors call us monthly on losing money on deals, right? So how many people want to lose money on the deals? No, right? They're losing because they overvalued it, right? What the repair cost was, or they undervalued what the repair cost. They thought the after repair value was higher. Those are common mistakes. I know if you're on Bigger Pockets, I love Bigger Pockets. Nobody brags that, hey, Harry, I just bought that house and lost $40,000. What? $40,000, right? We actually, in one of my masterminds that I go to, We ran into someone that was a friend of theirs, and Harry, I think I told you a story. They lost, let's see, how many was it? I believe it was 11 deals, 11 rehabs they did, and they lost money on all of them. And I was like, that makes no sense to me, number one, right? And she's like, well, I learned a lot of lessons, right? Isn't it better to pay for a mentor and learn it correctly the first time? So I think it's always important on that. And so who is on your power team, right? So the people on our power team, right? Contractors, handymen, both, right? Insurance agents. You got to get insurance on here, on the properties. What we love, like Bob Pepe, Flagler Insurance. He's actually flipped houses. So if you ever been to any of our meetings, you'll see he's the guy with the shorts, living in the Keys. He flat out tells you insurance isn't fun, but you're going to need it. But he has solved so many problems for us versus other insurance agents, right? Realtors. So we do need realtors. If you're not a realtor and you're rehabbing these houses, you're going to want someone on your team that understands it. They know how to work with investors, right? On that end. Maybe they're finding you properties on that portion. So you want to work with, realtors that are good. Title companies, right? So we do have a lot of different title companies within our organization. Kevin Thatcher, Independence Title, Concierge Title with R. Lee. The girls, down in Miami, right? That we love. So Synergy Title. So we have all these things through our organizations. And then, of course, guess what? You actually need money, right? So if you don't have the money for deals, it's not going to happen. So whether it's private money, we have hard money guys, we have someone like Paul Regan, Flipper Loans. He's fantastic, always an investor. Equity Max, Ron Schmitz, A to Z Capital. The cool thing is, if you look on our website, we have all these things. Mortgage brokers, right? You finally fixed the house. You need somebody to actually help with the financing. Jason Clark, right? I love Jason, Smart Home Loans. He actually did my mortgage. So you need this as, teammates. And again, you want to vet these people. And our job as an organization at BPM RIA is to help you with this, right? So what kind of, let's talk about assignments and contracts versus double closings. So we're going to talk about assignments and contracts, right? Flipping the contract, I've heard. What other things, Harry, have you heard besides, I always hear flipping the contract, assigning it are some of the things. And this is where you get the guys on the YouTube University always saying, no money down, right? No cash needed. Yes, you do. So assignments of contracts, right? So let's talk about this. First of all, you do need to put a deposit down, right? So in Florida, what I'm going to tell you, it is not a valid contract if you do not put a deposit down. It doesn't work. Someone could go right behind you. Harry could go right behind you. He put a deposit down and you're going to lose your contract. So go ahead and put in the chat. You talk to a seller. You agree on a price, $200,000. How much money are you going to put down on a contract? What are you going to put down? Go ahead and put in the chat. And of course, you have to have the money. So don't tell me 10%. My realtor, sometimes you need to put 10% down. Well, do you really have 20,000? Yes, we're talking about earnest money deposit, right? And where do we put it, right? Do we, I see 1,000, 3,000. Do we give it to the seller? The answer is no. Do not give it to the seller. Heck no, right? Title company. Give it to your favorite title company, right? Someone that's investor friendly on that portion, right? Escrow company, title company, all the above. You are correct. So I see some people 1,000, 3,000. I was watching, I won't say the names on some of these Facebook ads that pop up and, oh, I'm going to put $100 down or a $10 deposit. Okay, fair enough. That will be a valid contract. How many of you guys think $10 is enough to put down on a deposit on a $200,000, right? Oh, wait, I got $10, Harry, I got $10. Let me give it to you. Here's $10. Just sign here. I'm going to do that, right? it's just not realistic, right? On that end of it. So for us personally, I would say, especially if you're new, at least $500. Ideally, we always put 1,000 on that portion. The other thing that we're very different from other companies out there, because I am going to show proof of funds. So I am going to show the seller, Harry, hey, Harry, here's $1,000 down. Here's my proof of funds for 200,000. I got the money. Right? So that makes a big difference on that. The other question is, how many inspection days, right, are you going to put? What's a good number, right? I'm going under contract. Harry's the seller. So I got a 0, I got a 10, I got a 7. What about the rest of you guys? You guys are just going to hang out and watch all of Andrew, Michael, myself get deals on that portion. So Geraldine 7, 15. Okay. Right. So what are we doing during those inspection days? Right. What are we doing with them? We're finding a buyer. Andrew, you're exactly right. We are finding a buyer, right? We're not really going to inspect the house on that portion. So we call it marketing days. We're going to market it to our buyers list. So the more days, the better it is for you. So if you're using a FAR bar as is contract, and if you leave it blank, it's going to be 15 days. If not, they might say 7, 10, whatever that is. Little trick, right? You need more days. What you can put in the additional terms, right? Harry's a hard ass. He's only gonna give me 5 days. Well, yep, you're right, John. Business days. I just added extra days, right? I believe we have a holiday coming up, I think on Monday, Martin Luther King. That's an extra day, right? So now you got 3 extra days if you put business days. So it's important to, get more days for marketing. Can we buy with 0 days? I could. I'll just take Carl with me. But I won't buy with 0 days either, unless I know I'm 100% going to either keep it, have another buyer, but even then. So now, right, we're going to assign the contract, right? And we're going to be on the other side, right? We set it on our buyer's list. I got it for 200,000. I'm going to sell it for 210. I found a buyer. I went to all these buyers, and Taryn, the other investor that always buys me, the most she'll pay is 210 after looking at it. So the question is, how much will I get as a deposit from my end buyer, which is Taryn? How much is it in there? So what would you put, right? I put $1,000 down with Harry as the seller, right? He's the A, I'm the B, right? I'm the guy in between. C is our end buyer, right? I'm going to Taryn, or actually I'm going to go to Michelle, because I like Michelle more, who's helping us out. And I'm going to say, Michelle, I agree on the 210. What are you going to do? So yeah, Kevin's cheating because he's one of our students. Yeah, we're going to get $10,000. Why are we getting the 10,000? I want to cover my 1,000 in case something goes wrong. And how many days will I give Michelle for inspection days? What would you give, right? I got 7 days with Harry, right? 0, 0. Yeah. Our new students, you guys all know it's 0, 0. Why? Right? We want their money to go hard. And our buyers are sophisticated enough that they could do 0 days. They want the deal that bad, right? So I got 0 days inspection on the B2C with Michelle. I got 5 or 7 days with Harry. I put $1,000 with Harry, right? Or Harry, or the title company, I should say, for Harry's A to B contract. The B2C, I got 10,000. The reason we're going to assign this contract versus doing a double closing is there's 2 sets of closing costs with a double closing. It's going to eat up my $10,000, right? I'm going to probably, with closing costs and money costs, I might make $1,000 or $2,000. Instead, I'm going to say, Harry, guess what? I got some good news. We're going to close, and at the end of the month. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give it to my partner, Michelle. She's going to close on it. So I'm going to step out of the deal, and I'm going to put them together. and I'm going to get a $10,000 assignment fee at closing. And you want to make sure you're working with a title company that really understands this. Ontavera Law was one of the sponsors this past Saturday. And one of the things is they're not going to point out how much money you make. It does have to be on a closing statement. Double closings. You're going to do 2 closings. The reason you're doing 2 closings, right, is let's say it's 200,000 and I'm selling to Michelle for 230. And Michelle really wanted it for 215 or 220. And I said, Michelle, my numbers are tight. I'm barely making any money. Right? Harry wanted 220. And I said, no, Harry, I can't. My numbers are tight. I'm barely making money. If I step out, they're going to see a $30,000 assignment fee. Not good. It's going to be some problems, right? Harry might be really pissed at me, not signed. Now I'm suing him. Michelle says, you're a liar. I'm never going to buy from you. Absolutely not, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close with Harry in the morning. Literally, there's times that I've actually owned the house for 10 or 15 minutes. That's it. You do need to wire the money in, right? I can't use Michelle's money. We're going to make sure our title company will call us and say, hey, I already got Michelle's money in our documents. We're good. Do you want me to release your money? And I'll go ahead and do it. So the cool thing is, Harry has no idea. He takes his 200,000. He's back in Europe, on a cruise. He's happy. He moves on with his life. Michelle doesn't care because she says, look, I got the number. I'm going to fix this up or I'm going to keep it. And she's happy with it. Will she go down the road and maybe say, hey, did Anish really buy for this? Maybe. Most people don't care. And it's too late, more importantly, on that end of it, right? So one of the things that we do use as software is, ReFX. So we are going to go ahead and do a webinar with ReFX that's coming up. If you guys don't know Francisco Mago, he is amazing, right? So one of the things is, again, I don't own the company. People always ask me, hey, are you part of the company? You always promote it. No, we've made a lot of money from doing this. So how many of you guys, give me a yeah, buddy, if what I'm telling you today about wholesaling and rehabbing excites you? Give me a yeah, buddy. Otherwise, if not, yeah, Michael's excited. Amanda, Melissa, Kevin, yeah, Craig, yep. Yeah, I'm starting to see this, right? Like, if this does not excite you, I don't know what will. I really don't. Like, it is one of the best times. And now what I love about these things being recorded is that the old timers, I know some of you guys have been investing for a while, and you'll say, listen, 2010 and 11 were the good old days, right? You're going to say, oh my gosh, it was easy back then. And what you're going to say, we'll have to see in 5 years. I think in 2028, we're going to be like, man, 2023 was so easy. Those were the good old days, right? You want to be able to do deals, right? You want to be able out there and take action. And so one of the things I did promise you, right? I told you there'd be some additional training of what we're doing. So, these are some of our success stories. And, and you can see everyone's pretty happy. And I'll show you some of the student deals, and we'll kind of run through them a little bit to give you an idea. So this is actually a house here in Fort Lauderdale, 33311, right by Lauderdale Villas. And this was a wholesale deal with 7 different heirs. And it was a hoarder. It was beyond a mess is an understatement. The house is only about 700 or 800 square feet. My realtors, right? This is move-in ready. Actually, for Harry, your deals, this is actually move-in ready. He's like, wow, this thing is really cleaned up. But it's not, right? So we wholesale this deal. There's, I believe, 8 heirs. Of course, there's 7 of them that agree, and there's always one that doesn't, right? We finally convinced them to sell it. We were looking at rehabbing it. And guess what we made on this wholesale profit? $70,000. I could tell you for a fact, we're going to make more money than the rehabber. I'm going to say, I think the rehabber paid too much money, to be honest. We'll see if they actually make any money. That's what I'm going to start with. So that's another issue for those guys. Maybe they went through a different program. They didn't teach them how to do this.
Maybe they're renting it. Maybe they're doing an Airbnb. Either way, they're going to make a lot of money in the long run too.
Yep. So Harry, you want to talk about this beauty of a deal?
Well, this one was another student's deal, actually his first deal. He found this because he could not see the house from the road. There were 13 abandoned cars in the front, and you can see what it looks like on the inside. Obviously, a hoarder's house, about 3-foot climb in just to get into the front door. There was no access to the bedrooms, bathrooms, kitchen for at least 5 years. He was living on top of the pile. Our student reached out to the son, who knew his father was a hoarder, but not this bad. Wanted to move his son up to northern Florida. Move his father up to northern Florida, and asked for some time to help the father accept this, because obviously being a hoarder is a disease, and we didn't want to upset the father. We needed him to sign closing documents. So we gave him some time, and the whole deal, I think it was about 3 or 4 months before we were able to sign a contract and get it done, but they trusted us. It has $386,000 in liens on it, $1,700 worth of hard costs that the city had for maintaining the property. We worked with the son to cure some of the violations, such as cleaning the cars out, getting rid of the cars. However, this is the back of the house. You couldn't even see the house from here. We had to hire a crew to bring this all into compliance for the city, so they stopped accruing the liens. And we did this actually before we even closed on it. So we were taking some risk.
You were taking some risks with my money, and just so you guys know, it's not a risk for me, right? So that's one of the things out there. This one was over $138,000 in profit. Again, we did nothing to the house. Real time for student, I don't know, probably
7 months, I think, total.
No, like real time of what it. Time.
2.5 months.
Oh no! How many hours did Julio really spend?
Oh my goodness, probably less than 15.
There you go. That's what I was getting at, right? So yeah, the closing took 4 months. Got it, right? Of course. How many people, would be willing to work 15 hours with their coach and make $138,000? And guess what? They put 50% in there, or they got 50% of their profit, and I put up all the money. I know what, if that works for you, give me a yeah, buddy. Right. So if not, that's okay. Right. I won't put up the money. Yeah. Andrew's down. Sean's down. Sean knows because he's done some deals. Right. So this is another deal. This is one of Harry's other deal. And we'll just kind of run through these rather quickly, because I do want to get to some questions on it. Okay. Another beauty in Margate, right?
Another Margate deal, another series of liens and violations. The heirs did not want this house, as the bank was owed more than the house was worth. I convinced them that this would not cost them anything, that I would take on all the financial risk. And there was a probate, actually 2 probates that had to be done. And we ended up making the largest profit in BPM history of $179,000 by solving these particular problems.
And just so you guys know, the price, if I'm correct, you bought it for $170.
Bought it for $171, sold it for $359. Was it $356?
Something like that.
Somewhere in there, we're saying.
It's so funny. Like when you start doing deals, I know it sounds a little bit crazy. You're just like, holy crap. So, these numbers become astronomical because you're fixing problems for people, right? We're not looking at the $1 million homes on that end of it. We want to mitigate risk on that portion. We talked about maybe rehabbing, but Harry just doesn't like rehabbing. He's like, yeah, I'd rather make the 179 and move on with my life, right? So once you learn how to find deals, you get to cherry pick what you want to do with them. Maybe I'll fix it. Maybe I'll keep it. All the above, right? And this is in our backyard, right here in South Florida, where, there's too much competition. Well, what Harry hasn't told you, how many deals did you guys do last year?
8
to make over $1 million. It does work, right? So this does happen. Are you going to be one of those people, right? So people always ask us, right? I told you about our coaching program. What kind of people are out there that are doing the coaching program or in our coaching program? Let me rephrase that. And the people that are out there are people ready to, take action. My job is to get rid of all your excuses, right? How many of you guys have a lot of excuses? There's too much competition. The time's not right. I don't have enough time to do this. We want to be able to get rid of all that. We could teach you how to do comparables, write contracts. Like, that's not hard. But imagine you had someone that you could call and say, what about this? Or more importantly, it's someone who actually puts up the money, right? So I think it's really important out there what we do. So our coaching program, I know we get this, and you could book a discovery call. So some of you guys might be like me, right? I told you I spent over $80,000 last year on coaching and personal development. I literally went to Marshall Silver's Turning Point, so if you guys know who he is, and I went on his training out in California. And if you guys don't know, I took the red eye all night. I got about 2 hours of sleep. So if I'm not making total sense, that's why. No, really, I mean, a lot of times I don't make sense, but that's okay. Lack of sleep. But I was one of those people I want to be in, right? So I am making, as you saw, I'm traveling all over the world, living in Las Olas. I get to do what I want to do. And I'm nowhere where I want to be. So I said, look, I need to be in here, right? So I went ahead and joined the coaching program, right? And you could book a discovery call and you could grill me and ask me all the questions. We have financing options. But the big thing is I put up all the money and I profit share with you. So I think that's important.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, right. So we always joke about it as great real estate investors are trained, not born. And so one of the things I told you about the additional training that I'd be offering, because remember, we said nothing's for free, right? You're going to have to invest in yourself at one point. And I saw a lot of you guys on this webinar have actually done the quick start. So you know what it's like, right? When it's 2 full days, right? So who attends our quick start, right? People always ask me, well, maybe you're a realtor and you want to get on the other side. Newbie investors, I've always thought about it. I'm ready to take action. When am I going to do this? So when you join the quick start, you're gonna meet other like-minded people that really want to do this. They're experienced investors. Why would an experienced investor want to do it? Well, maybe they're only doing 3 or 4 deals a month. They learn one thing and it switches. Now they're doing 6 or 7 deals. I can't tell you how many seminars I've been to in education where I remembered something and you know what? I didn't use it. And then I went to the webinar and I was like, or seminar, and I'm like, oh yeah, why not? I know a lot of you guys, people looking for generational wealth. Give me a yeah, buddy, if you think generational wealth is important to you. Because for me, it's pretty important. Or maybe it's looking to build passive income. Give me a yeah, buddy, right? If passive income is important to you, yeah, this is what you want to do. Or maybe it's just to change lives, right? You're not happy where you're at. Or you're happy where you're at, but you're not totally where you need to be, right? So a lot of great information, right? Are you guys getting this? Give me a thumbs up, or yeah, buddy, that today you guys learned something, right? How exciting this can be. And so now the next question is, when I join the actual quick start, right? So I used to charge $1,495 for it. The reason I charged that was, guess what? The hotel rooms, right? So unfortunately or fortunately, I love living in South Florida, but these hotel rooms or venues, they have me over the barrel. They charge me $1 gazillion to do an event for 2 days. Well, now we do it via Zoom. And it's a little bit different than what it is on this webinar. And what I mean by that, it's cameras on. It truly feels like a classroom. So I know some of you guys have done the actual quick start in the past. Go ahead and put a comment in there if you thought it was good, right? Some of you guys, we're going to really basically go over everything that we went over today but we're gonna, guess what? We're gonna show you how to use ReaFax. We're gonna have the owner on there. I'm gonna have Kevin Tasher talk about double closings, assignment of contracts. Oh, hey Harry, I don't know how to evaluate properties. We're gonna have Carl Sheely talk about repairs. What about setting up your corporation? Should I set up an S Corp, an LLC? I'm not really sure. What should I do with this? Jose Ramirez is going to be on there. So what we've done is we have a massive team of experts. Again, I am not an expert in all these fields, but having a powerful team, we get to do this, right? So what you need to do, right, is for our members, right? I told you if you're a member, you get better pricing. It's $495 for members. Non-members, it's $695. What you need to do right now is hit the button. Michelle, put the quick start page on there, join. When will it be your time? And so one of the things that I do that probably most other people don't do, right? You're always going to hear me talk about, I don't want to trip over dollars to pick up pennies, right? I know, right? The money's in the deal. I got it, right? So my goal is for you to become investors, right? And let's partner on deals, right? Use my money. How often do you hear guys say, hey, take me for my money? I know, well, I probably don't want to say that to my wife, but she already has my money. But I'm willing to put up the money for the deals. So it's one of those things that's just out there and you've been thinking about it for 3 or 4 years, 5 years. I've seen some of you guys in our in-person meetings and you haven't taken a stand. So go ahead and click on the link. I'm not sure. I think we only have 5 or 6 more spots left. I keep this small on purpose because we want to make this interactive exercises, right? And some of you guys, you're like, I'm not happy about this, right? So one of the things I'm doing, right, as a guarantee, I will give you 100% money back guaranteed if you're not satisfied. Here's the deal. You have to go all day, Saturday and Sunday. You could call me and say Sunday evening or Monday morning, hey, Anish, this sucked, right? Nothing that you advertised. I'm disappointed. I will gladly give you your money back. No questions asked. I am positive that we're here to deliver value. One of the things I'm also doing, if you do the quick start and you find a deal, you could work with us on our co-wholesaling partnership program. And we talked about, hey, you need money for deals. I will provide transactional funding for your deals. That is correct. So I'm going to help you sell it if you get under contract if the price is right, and I'll even put up the money for it. One of the other things that we also did not talk about, short sales, right? Foreclosures, you have to close on the property. You cannot assign the contract. And as an extra bonus for anyone that signs up today, what I'm going to do is I am going to extend your membership for 3 months if you're already a member, just to say thank you. If you're not a member, right, and you want to become a member and you want to take advantage of the pricing, right? So you could become a member at a discount, right, for $50, and you could get the member pricing. So I'll take $50 off the membership too. So now you could do everything and be part of this organization. Again, if you're actually using our membership, we actually pay you to become a member. So that's only for the people that sign up today. Since Alexa is out of the office, I am going to have Michelle put in the chat my email. It is anish@bpmria.com. So you could email me. I'm going to do some processing because Alexa's on vacation. If I'm a little slow, that's, I'm very good at flipping houses, rehabbing houses. Some of you guys were there Wednesday. Not very good at technology. I know what you guys are saying, the Indian guy, how come he's not good at technology? So you want to go out there and sign up today, right? Don't let another year go by. That's what I could tell you on that. And again, 100% money back guarantee, right? So the truth is you're taking no risk. Now what? Right? So that's what I tell people all the time. The people that actually come to these events, right? We're going to teach you how to find off-market deals. We're going to show you how to analyze properties, how to set up your company, find motivated sellers, and how to get things under contract. So one of the things that you always leave, our motto here at BPM RIA, great real estate investors are trained, not born. So, and if you want to go ahead, and some of you guys might say, look, I'm all in. I'm ready to just go ahead and do it. I've been watching you guys. You've seen the Google reviews. I believe in mentoring and coaching. As I said, I have my own mentors and coach. It makes a big difference. I will, while you guys are signing up, I did see some questions. So I'm going to kind of run through some of the questions a little bit. And I really appreciate you guys being in the process. Michael, I know you're talking about your wife being a member. And the truth is you do not have to be a member. Just hop on with your wife. You'll just have to pay extra. When I say extra, $10 at the in-person meetings. So I will go ahead and honor, just because as a spouse, no problem. So if you want to go ahead, Michael, and do our quick start, I will honor the pricing for a member. Unless your wife doesn't want to share the membership, that's a different conversation. That's a different webinar altogether. Amanda, the brokerage I am with is Charles Rutenberg Realty in Fort Lauderdale. If you also email me, I can give you a soft introduction to Michelle. I've been with them for years. They are fantastic. It's 100% commission spot, so you'll love it there. Jorge is going to ask me thoughts on the 203K process. So I'm thinking, Jorge, you're talking about living in the property. So an FHA 203K is where you could do an FHA loan and they will help you with the repairs. It is definitely a more complicated loan. If you don't have a good person for your 203K or mortgage person, I could recommend you. So you do have to live in the property. If you are an FHA loan person, and you could house hack, meaning if it's a duplex, fourplex, you could live in one and rent out the other units. We've actually done webinars on house hacking. So that is a great strategy to get into this. Craig, you're asking, does the coaching group include deals outside of Florida as well? So yes and no. So what I mean by that is I'm only putting up money for deals in Florida. And the reason is that some of the other states out there they have different guidelines on flips and wholesaling. So depending on Ohio, those guidelines constantly change. What we didn't even talk about is we've been averaging close to $25,000 per wholesale deal prior to the pandemic. The heart of the pandemic, we were earning or making close to 40,000. And I don't want to call this post-pandemic. I'm going to say, not the height, right? Like obviously there's still things going on. This past year, we've been averaging well over 50, and we've had 6 to 8 deals making over $100,000 wholesaling. So again, our numbers have been pretty big all the way through. So Craig, yeah, that's one of the questions. Michelle, I know one person that does not have to buy the quick start because she won the raffle. So Geraldine Smith, if you are around, come down to my house and collect. No, actually, if you email us, you are a lucky person that actually you won the quick start. And if you've actually done this before, this is a great gift. Or if you purchased one, again, it's a great gift all the way through. So I'm super excited when it comes for that. So it's just like one of those things that we're really pumped up for what's happening in 2023. So I'm hoping to really that this will be your year, right? A lot of you guys told me you want the biggest year ever. And the first job is to take action. So when you sign up for this quick start, when you become a mentoring student, it's going to literally change your life. And if you really, get really good at this, you'll become like a Harry Victoria, Taryn, Ward, Denise, and Lucian, where they became mentors, right? They want to really do this. They have their own businesses. But what we're really proud of is that we created this amazing community all the way through. So, Michelle, thank you so much. Again, those bonuses, the extra $50 off on your membership, the extra 3 months, that is only good for today. So you have to sign up today to get those bonuses. And for the people, that are not doing this and you're just checking out our webinars, the question is, when are you going to do it, right? When are you going to make that change? As I said, my attitude is there's only one life. I don't know about you, Harry, Michelle. I'm looking for an extraordinary one on this life, right? It's just that time, and it's got to be your time. So I don't know what's the excuses anymore, right? And again, we're super excited about this. Last thing before I let you guys go and say bye, some of you guys know that Antonio Lopez, if you did see the replay, he did do a webinar on short-term rentals. We do have a few more seats. We're keeping it very small on his workshop this Saturday. So if you're interested, make sure you go to our website, bpmria.com, upcoming events, sign up, give us a 5-star Google review because we need it, right? So now you know our Google review.
You went silent, Dinesh.
Went silent. Did you turn me off?
No.
Wait. I know my wife wished she could do that. So give me one last, yeah, buddy, I'm ready to do this, so that I know. And then I can say goodbye to you guys and we'll see you soon. So yeah, look at that.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Mr. Harry Diamond, for your input. And my goal is for you to become the next guy I talk about making $1 million in 1 year.
If anyone is interested in becoming a mentor right away and jumping in with 2 feet, are there any additional bonuses for them taking action today?
Yeah, if they pay in full. So here's the funny part. Harry always likes to put me on the spot without, consulting me prior. So I'm okay with it. So anyone, right, because it's a new year, I feel pretty good. I'm pretty excited about what's happening. Is if you want to do our coaching program and you want to pay it in full, right, I will take $2,000 off either program. How about that? If you want to do that, if you want to book a discovery call, grill me, right? You're going to have some questions. You want to see if this program's for you. Again, we only take limited seats. We only take about 8 students per month. There's only 4 mentors. Do the math. We give you unlimited access to your mentors, guys. So again, thank you so much. Go ahead and again, get the quick start, get those bonuses, and I will see you at our next event, guys. Thank you.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
I didn't want to be in there.
Too